All right, here we go. Live on the Pump Fake. Jerry Bailey with you as always, joined by the man, the myth, the legend, Jordan Schultz. We were talking in the lobby. That was a little bit of a pain in the butt leading up, but I'm glad you're here, buddy. It's good to see
My
you.
pleasure. I was late, and then probably my Wi-Fi, but I'm thrilled to be on. Thrilled to be on the Pump Fake. Thanks for having me.
You know, and I do got to say, a little inside baseball, I do appreciate, you kind of starting the dialogue between you and I to saying, hey, man, seeing what you're doing, and it's great. So I appreciate that more than you know, so I appreciate that.
My pleasure. I like what you're doing, and happy to be on the show.
So let's talk contract situations around the NFL. This has been a record year specifically for the receiver position. Obviously, if I told you in January that Christian Kirk was going to reset the receiver market, I think a lot of people would have looked at us a little bit crazy. But here we are. Jacksonville gave him a lot of money. That opened up, when the Devontae Adams trade happened, he got a big payday from Las Vegas. And then that entire 2019 class of, Deebo Samuel, DK, and then Deontay Johnson all getting paid, as well as A.J. Brown. What does this do for the position going forward? Because we're going to see Justin Jefferson's going to want to get his, Jamar Chase eventually. What does this do for the position going forward? And how much are teams going to start? Are we going to see the value of receivers, continue to ascend?
Well, for one, I don't think we've ever seen such an influx, Jared, of great receivers coming in, going into the NFL out of the draft. I mean, you mentioned that 2019 class, but really the last few years here, it has been a remarkable run of players, and not just first and second rounders, but day two and even some day three guys. I mean, Adam Thielen was undrafted. I mean, there are Cooper Kupp was a late guy. It is remarkable the amount of talent that's coming into that position. And I think there's a couple of reasons why. First of all is the coaching at that position has been remarkably sound. For example, Ohio State having Brian Hartline. This guy, it's no coincidence that we have Jackson Smith coming out now, and Garrett Wilson and Olave and Michael Thomas. There's so many out of that school. If you look at Alabama and a lot of the SEC schools, they have put a premium on hiring wide receiver coaches, paying them more salaries, making that a position of need, as opposed to just hiring a good QB coach or a good OC. It's really become a developmental position, and as a result, we're seeing a lot of guys coming in ready. So I think what you'll continue to see is great wide receivers coming into the NFL, and the fact that the market has been reset this many times. Usually the big money we talk about goes to quarterbacks, corners, linemen. That's that skill position now, wide receiver, has become a must-have. And I think you not only need one, you need two or three. It's almost like having a great pass rusher. It's great to have one, but you always want two or three if you can get them. You can never have enough of them. And if you look at, you mentioned all those teams, Philadelphia, A.J. Brown, Devontae, Seattle, DK, Lockett, Cincinnati, Chase and Higgins and Boyd. All these teams are going after two guys to have multiple wide receivers that they can use. So I'm excited about the position. I just don't remember a time where there's ever been this many good ones.
And speaking of, positions becoming more of a premium, we're going to see a little bit of the safety market continue to shake up. We saw Minka Fitzpatrick get a big deal. Justin Simmons got one
Derwin's
previous year.
Yep.
Derwin James as well. Other guys like Jesse Bates, everybody's been clamoring for his extension. Jordan Poyer as well. What are we going to see next summer when it comes to these top-end safeties? Are we going to continue to see these deals? Similar to Minka Fitzpatrick, he became the highest-paid safety in NFL history, and now, Jesse Bates is continuing to get better. Yeah. Jordan Poyer is one half of arguably the best safety tandem in football. Where are we going to see these guys land, perhaps? Yeah. And what are their salaries going to look like?
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked that, because we talk about premium positions. Usually, at least that I've covered the league, safety has not been considered a premium position. We
right.
talk corner, offensive line, quarterback, maybe defensive line. Safety has become a premium position because the modern day safety, those guys, Bates and James, Hyde, they're being asked to do so many different things: the blitz, cover, the tackle, play strong, play weak, roam. It's remarkable how many good young safeties there are, similar to the receiver position. But also, I think the reason you're seeing those guys get that type of money is because the league has caught up to the trend of we need to pay these guys because it's invaluable what they're doing, especially at the high level. So I have zero doubt that, similar to wide receiver and quarterback, how the market keeps getting reset. You mentioned we talked about Derwin. He's close. I would imagine Hoyer next year, Bates. These guys are going to get paid more. It's going to keep going up because the position has become so important.
And going from a position that has become more of a premium to a position that might not be valued as much, we're seeing a lot of breakdown between Roquan Smith and the Chicago Bears. All of it being
linebacker,
yeah. So that's the thing, that inside linebacker spot, not seen, in the same light as an edge rusher or a really good cornerback or a safety. They're kind of the redheaded stepchild right now of NFL defenses. If he does get traded, Bears
I don't think he's going to get traded, at least not right now.
The Bears seem to have all the leverage right now.
They
because
do, exactly right. They do. They have all the leverage. So, Roquan's 27. He's representing himself. Teams sometimes, I shouldn't say usually, sometimes they don't like that. I don't think it's affecting the process here. I think the problem is the Bears have all the leverage. He really has two choices. He can play it out, and he's one of the best. He's one of the best young linebackers in the league. He's very, very good. Or he could sit and forfeit a tremendous amount of money. So there's really no choice for him. I think, there have been a couple teams rumored. I know the Chargers have been rumored because of Brandon Staley's connection to him. I just don't see it. We just talked about Derwin. They got to get that deal figured out. I don't think he's going to get traded. And just based on the fact that he would forfeit so much money, I don't think he'll sit out. And it's unfortunate that the Bears haven't taken care of him. I completely sympathize for what he's going through, and I think Poles has to deal with this. But ultimately, I don't think he's going to get paid right now.
The Chicago Bears, they're already in an interesting position by themselves. Trying to figure out what to do or how to set Justin Fields up for success, and they have arguably the worst receiver room in the league.
They got a good one. Mooney's very good, but you're right. They haven't. It has not been. Listen. Say what you want about Pace, good or bad. He missed on a lot of picks, and he didn't draft receiver very well. Allen's gone. He goes to the Rams. I think Cole Kmet's going to have a nice year. I like the running backs, Herbert and Montgomery, but you mentioned the receivers. Yeah, it's not a position of strength. I do think Fields is going to have a big time year. What I've been told from him is he's in great shape. He's really connected with Luke Getsy, the new OC, who's going to be a head coach in the next few years. Fields' mechanics have improved, so I'm excited about him. But in terms of the talent, it's not great.
I don't think it's a knock against Justin Fields whatsoever. I think it's a knock against the situation that he was drafted into, and we see it kind of unravel, these past few months. So it's easy to root for the guy, but you'd like to think that, okay, if maybe he and Trey Lance switched places, Justin Fields would be in a lot better situation right now.
I'm excited about Lance. He's got
a lot of people seem excited about Trey Lance, Jordan Schultz.
Yeah. I'm excited about him. Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have a big sample size. The guy played like 11 games in college at the FCS level, was dominant, but we don't really know a lot about him other than what we've heard. I can tell you that they love him. John Lynch believes in him, and I think we've seen that with how Garoppolo's situation has been handled. Great athlete, big arm. They have a lot of talent there, and I think the offensive line certainly is strong. So I expect a lot out of Trey Lance this season. I don't know what that means numbers wise. I'm sure he'll make plenty of mistakes, like all young quarterbacks. But between he is a legit dual threat guy. I think he's faster than people even realize. He's really explosive as a runner.
Here's my thing about Trey Lance. I think that ultimately he will end up being better than Jimmy Garoppolo, and I think he's going to be a perfect fit for what the 49ers need, and he's going to keep them as a perennial playoff team for years to come. I think to a lot of 49ers saying that at this very moment that he is already the better option than Jimmy Garoppolo, I think that's asinine and it lacks a little bit of merit. right now. And I think there will be, I mean, you touched on it, there could be growing pains, and the back end of their schedule is horrendous. So I think that
is it so as in they
I'll pull it
teams?
up. I can pull it up for you. I don't know it off the top of my head, but I've talked about it enough where it's engraved that I always bring it up. 49ers fans.
They play bad teams or good teams?
No, they play good teams on the back end. That's what I'm saying. So let me get it pulled up here. I'll just give you
the
a quick
NFC
rundown.
West, really tough.
Yeah.
I think even Seattle's going to be competitive. I don't know how many games they'll win, but they'll be competitive.
Do you?
Yeah, I think they'll be competitive. I mean, just knowing Pete.
Drew Lock stand Jordan Schultz is revealing himself.
I think it's going to be Geno to start.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not a big Drew Lock guy. I don't. He's a young quarterback with a lot of warts. So let's just say that.
So let me give you a quick rundown of the middle to back half of their schedule. So week 7, Kansas City. Week 8 at the Rams. Week 9 bye week. Week 10 Chargers. Week 11 at Arizona. That's a brutal stretch in the middle of the season. And then on the back half, week 14 Tampa, and then divisional game against Seattle, Washington, at Las Vegas, and then Arizona.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how you feel. There goes Jordan Schultz. We've lost his camera.
Yeah, sorry. No, I think I said earlier a couple weeks ago that I thought the Niners would be. I think they're a playoff team. I'm putting a lot of that on the defense too. The defense is really, really good. Javarius Ward is a legit number one guy, and he's going to have an opportunity to prove himself pretty early in that division.
Yeah, big pickup for them from Kansas City. So look, they've got, in terms of roster-wise, I mean, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, Travarius Ward, whom you just
Trent Williams.
Trent Williams, who, I can't remember who it was. I want to say it might have been Kittle who said that he's just the best player in football.
He might be the best player in the league. Yeah. A lot of guys say that. Yeah, definitely the best tackle.
Oh, yeah, without question. So, I mean, the talent's definitely there throughout the rest of the roster. It's just a matter of great, yeah.
Yeah, they got a lot. There's a lot to like about them. But I also would say, then you got the Rams, who might be look better on paper.
Who just won the Super Bowl and then added Allen Robinson and Bobby Wagner. Yeah.
Yeah, and the Cardinals, I know they fell off a cliff at the end of the season, but that roster is really, really strong too. So that's a brutally tough division.
And they seem pretty high on Zaven Collins as well.
Zaven Collins and Simmons. I think both those guys are going to have big years.
And they need to. I mean, losing Chandler Jones is definitely. I understand that Chandler Jones is, in the back 9 of his career, but still putting up respectable numbers and was their top edge rusher. So no, I find it hard. I think I've drank the Cardinals Kool-Aid the last 2 years. I'm going to keep doing it just because, to me, I think the best pure dual threat guy. If we're talking, I'm a big Kyler guy, man. Yeah. I do love Kyler Murray. He's got a top 5 arm in the NFL, and he's
remarkably talented. That's
the thing, man. So. I can't find myself quitting the Cardinals, even in a DeAndre Hopkins, 6-game suspension. That's why they have a million receivers, by the way.
Yeah,
everybody was talking about them loading up. That's why you have,
my God. Hollywood, Rondale.
AJ Green's still there, I think.
AJ Green, yeah, absolutely.
Is Andy Isabella still on the roster?
Andy Isabella's still there. Yeah, Wake Forest, yeah.
Andy Isabella at Wake Forest might be the whitest sentence ever said about an NFL team out loud.
I still think he's a legit guy. They haven't.
I like Andy Isabella. Yeah.
It's unfortunate they haven't found a role for him, but they got a lot of talent. Zach Ertz as well. So.
And James Conner, who scores every other time he touches the ball, apparently. So I'm definitely not quitting on the Cardinals. We talked in the lobby. I'm a Pittsburgh guy. I'm a Steelers fan. But I think I'm a logical Steeler fan when I say that the roster is better than what it was at this point last year in terms of composure of their defense and everything. Offensive line got a little bit better. George Pickens seems like he's going to be a star. A lot of this is going to depend on, if Mr. Trubisky's going to be the guy this year, how much is there going to be any sort of fall off from what Roethlisberger was last year? And if so, how much is that going to be? Because
I don't think. Just the threat of Trubisky's legs and the fact that he's got ability to throw the ball down the field. I don't know how efficient he'll be, but he's a threat that Ben didn't have the last few years. So listen. They signed him to be the starter. They love Kenny Pickett. They always liked him. They always liked him a lot, and he'll be the guy eventually. But this is Trubisky's job. They took care of Deontay, which I said they would. I don't know why people didn't believe it. They were always going to take care of him. He's
what kind of idiot in Pittsburgh with a Joe Dirt haircut wouldn't believe that the Steelers would pay Deontay Johnson? He certainly couldn't be me.
That number was exactly right. 18.55. That's right. You mentioned Pickens. You just look at the film. It looks like a superstar.
Yeah.
So
granted, it's camp, but still.
Yeah, it's camp. But his catches. He's super talented, and if it wasn't for the injury, he would have been, a top 15, top 20 pick. So,
right.
I think that the AFC North is really tough. I expect Baltimore to bounce back. Maybe Cincinnati takes a step back, but it's a very tough division, and certainly they'll have their work cut out. But no, I think the threat of Trubisky. The fact that he's a dual threat guy, he's a really he's a great athlete, and I think his ability to push the ball down the field, they just haven't had that. So, and I hope for his sake, Claypool, we see some more of that rookie year because he was unbelievable.
Well, I think that the talk around most Steeler fans is, please, for the love of God, put Chase Claypool in the slot and just let him eat.
Just let him, yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that. You mentioned Lamar Jackson. He himself and Eric DeCosta in the Baltimore front office are in the midst of figuring out that extension as well. Ryan Clark saying that he shouldn't play for a penny less than $230 million guaranteed, which is, of course, what Deshaun Watson got. Your thoughts on Lamar Jackson, the contract situation in Baltimore, when it'll get done, and what you expect him to get?
Yeah, they don't have an option. I mean, what's the alternative? They like Tyler Huntley, but he's not a starter, not right now.
And Trace McSorley ain't there anymore, Schultz. I
love Trace McSorley, but not a starter either. So, Lamar Jackson, he's actually my dark horse MVP pick this year. I see him exploding once again.
I feel like I saw you tweet that. Yeah,
the numbers were down last year. I understand that, but I think Bateman's going to be huge for them. Obviously, Andrews. They bring in Linderbaum, the rookie out of Iowa, first round pick center. That was a position that really hurt them last year.
Yeah.
So they'll be better. And then also just as a whole, I think Lamar, playing for that contract. I don't know. The timing is tough. That's been the one where I've said I could see it playing out a multitude of ways. If I had to guess, I don't think a deal gets done before week 1, but I wouldn't be surprised. He's also representing himself, like Roquan. But unlike Roquan, they're without question going to take care of him. It's just a matter of when.
The thing with Lamar Jackson that I have a worry about is, you mentioned Rashad Bateman. I get Mark Andrews is great. Outside of that, Schultz, if we drove down to Baltimore and said, hey, if you guys need some help at receiver, we're here.
Duvernay,
Devin Duvernay,
Roche, SMU. They also I like that he put on the weight. He put on 20 or 25 pounds up to 230. I can't imagine he'll be any slower or significantly slower. So that'll make a big difference as well. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. But they're not a throwing team. This is a running team.
Sure.
Having Dobbins back will be really important. They're gonna have to rely on him. He's a very good player, and I think getting off PUP was a big deal.
The rest of, I'm excited about their defense. We talked about Linderbaum, but Kyle Hamilton also being drafted out of Notre Dame. They'll get Lattimore and Humphrey back. They signed Marcus Williams from New Orleans. This is, on paper, this has the argument of being the best secondary in football. Even without Wink Martindale, who's now in New York, this is a team that we know they're going to play good defense.
Yeah, they're going to play good defense. They're going to be in games. They're not going to turn the ball over. I know last year that was a problem, but, the track record is they won't turn the ball over. I actually, Marcus Williams came to my show. I asked him about Baltimore and Lamar, and I think he said, if I can go back to it, not super recently, but basically, this guy is so unbelievably talented. If we can just, as a defense, stay competitive, he's going to win us enough games. So, yeah, I have no question in my mind that Lamar, maybe he doesn't win MVP, but he'll be in that race. And I think Baltimore, they're a playoff team. They'll bounce back. As for the deal, again, I don't foresee a situation just like with Kyler, where they don't take care of him.
Right. All right. So we can stay on the topic of mobile quarterbacks. everybody seems very high on the Philadelphia Eagles, and I am not one of those people, Jordan Schultz. Here, I'll give you a shameless plug for my latest from the 33rd. Last year, Philadelphia, including playoffs, 1-8 against teams with winning records, and the team that they beat was the Trevor Siemian-led New Orleans Saints.
Wow.
And those losses to those other 8 teams outscored by an average score of 35-22. So this is not. I get that they were a playoff team, but I think they were a team that took advantage of a top-heavy NFC and a division that is consistently weak. Jalen Hurts, I think, for as dynamic as he is a runner, he is not exactly one of the elite passers in the NFL. Those are my worries about the Philadelphia Eagles. It's great that you add a guy like AJ Brown, but you got to have a guy that can get him the ball consistently. Uh-oh, did we lose Schultz?
I'm good.
There he is. Okay.
Yeah, no. So listen, I totally hear what you're saying. He was not he was on my fantasy team, and also so I know how inaccurate he was at times last year, Jalen Hurts. I don't know how much they're going to ask him to, throw the ball down the field. I think having AJ Brown is going to be massive for them because he gives them someone that's going to win routes over and make them, and not just win routes, but easy throws. All those slants and drags. He doesn't have to stretch the field because they have Devontae and Goddard as well is one of those seam guys that can really run. So they're still going to be a running team. I don't know if that's Sanders or Gainwell or whoever, but they're going to run the ball. Boston Scott, they're going to run the ball, and hopefully, if you're an Eagles fan, play solid defense and not ask Hurts to have to get in these shootouts. But that's a really hot team right now. If you think about on paper, they also brought in James Bradbury, a really good move. So
Hassan Reddick too. I like their defense. Don't get me wrong.
I'm excited.
I like what they're doing on that side of the ball.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
So we'll see. Dallas, what are your thoughts on the Cowboys?
I think they take a step back.
I can agree. Haven't made a stat that blew my mind. They haven't made the playoffs in consecutive seasons since 2006, 2007.
Yeah, that's Jerry Jones. I think. I am not a believer in Mike McCarthy. I really have never been. So I feel like he loses you 2-3 games a year. I love Dak Prescott. I love CeeDee Lamb. I know they're high on the kid Tolbert, the rookie. But as a whole, they're not are they better than the Eagles? Are they on par? I guess they're similar. I mean, Parsons is tremendous.
Yes.
But as a whole, I look at the roster, it's not like a really deep roster. The offensive line is going to rely a lot on this Tyler Smith kid from Tulsa, the rookie that they love. But I don't think Dallas is I think they're a competitive team. They're a 9-10 win team.
All right. So, if you follow me, I am high. The thing I'm bullish on, my most bullish take of the offseason, that the Washington Commanders will win the NFC East.
It's not crazy because there's always a new winner and they should be better. They can't be worse.
I think me and Orlovsky are the only two people that believe in Carson Wentz left in the world.
I don't believe I can't get there. I'm sorry.
Can I make my case for the Commanders?
Please, yeah.
All right. So they were a 7-win team last year with, by the way, Taylor Heineke. He's proven himself as the Hells Angels apparently roll by in Pittsburgh. I don't know if you heard the motorcycles that just blew by. Okay, cool. Just making sure. So the 7-win team with Taylor Heineke, largely without Chase Young last year. Defense, by the way, played brutal in the first half of the year. They got better down the stretch, but the first half of the year, the Commanders' defense wasn't good. They added Curtis Samuel as well. They didn't have him last year. You bring in Carson Wentz, who, for everybody that wants to say he's, the 30th best quarterback in the league. No, he's not. He's much closer to, being between 15 and 20. They get an upgrade regardless at quarterback. Jahan Dotson coming in. This is the best quarterback Terry McLaurin has ever had. Samuel, McLaurin, Dotson, having Gibson in the backfield, good versatile back, and then fantastic front four with, former first-round picks and Chase Young, Montez Sweat, Jonathan Allen, Daron Payne. I like their defense a lot. They're high on Jamin Davis out of camp right now. Decent secondary, 2 corners that are good with Fuller and Jackson. I don't know, man. I think that this is a team that can definitely take a step forward.
Yeah, that's a good case, and I've always liked Ron Rivera. I don't know if I can get there with Wentz, But
27 touchdowns, 7 picks last year, Jordan. Come on, hop on. There's plenty of room. There's literally plenty of room. There's only 2 people on board.
I never guessed that. I had no idea.
4-to-1 touchdown interception ratio.
I guess I just remember that game against Jacksonville.
See, all right, let me address that. Actually, I'm going to do that because you know who else played badly, worse than Carson Wentz did against Jacksonville? Josh Allen. They lost 9-6. Justin Herbert played very poorly against the Texans. The Bengals lost to Mike White. So, I get it.
It happens. Yeah,
I get it. He played. They should have won that game. He should have played better. I get it. But when it also gets lost in the shuffle, Carson Wentz should sponsor me, by the way. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you're the guy's biggest fan ever.
Matt Perino on the Bills beat. We have an inside joke that he's going to send me a Carson Wentz jersey for Christmas. I'm very excited about it. But you look at what he did last year. The game Monday night against Baltimore, where Lamar just went absolutely off and set a ton of records. Carson Wentz had the best game of his career too, because he also threw for over 400 yards.
That was the game they were up big, right? And then Baltimore.
They were up, I think, 26-3.
Yeah, I remember that game.
And I don't recall Carson Wentz blowing that lead.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I understand. I'm not against the Washington. I'm not a big believer in Carson, but I'd love to be wrong because it'd be great.
I'll reserve a spot for you on the bandwagon right next to me, and then if you want to hop on by week 5, by all means, that spot will still be open.
All right, that's fair. That's fair.
All right, before I let you go, is there any takes that maybe are going against the grain with you? I gave you mine.
I think the Lamar. I think Fields is a big breakout guy. I'm pretty high on Daniel Jones and the Giants.
Okay, that's something that we agree on, Jordan Schultz.
I think Tony's you're gonna see a lot out of him. I think Saquon's gonna have a big year. Offensive line's gonna be better.
I'm ready for Brian Daboll.
So I'm excited about Daboll, Kafka as Daniel's guy. I know he likes him a lot. So I'm excited about the G-Men. I don't know what that means win-loss, but they'll be better.
I think they're a year away from being a wild card team potentially. I think they could be like a 7-8 win team this year. But Jones locks down the fact that, okay, he's our guy.
Yeah, I'm with you. You don't have to preach in the choir there, yeah.
But plus Wink Martindale to a defense that was good last year, and they don't have Mike Glennon as quarterback this year like that. Those are two. Mike Glennon might have a case for being the worst quarterback of all time.
No, Nathan Peterman, I think. Nathan Peterman, Mike Glennon. Yeah.
I think that we need to, at some point this year, be blessed with a game in which Mike Glennon and Nate Peterman start against each other just to solve this once and for all.
The toilet bowl, yeah.
That would be beautiful. Jordan Schultz, man, I appreciate you. Plug anything that you would like to before we get on out of here.
No, I appreciate you, man. Yeah, I'm on TikTok now, Instagram, Twitter.
I'm getting with the times.
I engage with all the haters. So come at me.
You and I both, buddy. I read every comment and I fire back because I'm petty and it hurts my feelings.
You gotta be able to enjoy that just as much as the good stuff,
Exactly, buddy. I appreciate you. Let's definitely do this again soon.
I love that.
All right, buddy. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm gonna say bye with my dog.
Cheers. Oh yeah, what's your dog's name?
This is Prince.
Prince, I love that.
This is Prince. He just
I assume you like the musician then, the artist.
We love the musician. Yeah, okay. always loved him. Yeah.
All right, buddy. We'll get on out of here then.
All right, man. Thanks again for bearing with me.
All right, buddy. Take care.
Have a good night. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Bye.